it's very frustrating at times, considering how you're trying to garner up as much support as you can, but at the same time, it's very rewarding because, you're seeing your work slowly pay off in many ways, but you also want it to pay off in the sense that, you actually want to get to where you want to go.
Corey Davis, An Evolution Story. I really appreciate this piece and the absolute freedom and honesty in which he shared his journey with us. That was really smart having it as this chronological journey where we get to meet him and right from the beginning, his roots and his childhood, getting to see the family photos. And as we progress, the family footage, the images that helped intersperse and build the story. It was never lacking in momentum, is what I really appreciated in building this journey. And then we really got to meet him in his art as well by seeing his creations and getting to tie, what was going on in that time of his life, or what was the ethos, the mentality or the drive behind this. And you so rarely get to just sit down with an artist and chat about where they came from and why they do what they do. And this really gave us that experience. So very much appreciate this piece.
This documentary film is about filmmaker, comedian, and actor Corey Davis. It's called The Corey Davis Evolution Story. He's very young, and he has come a very long way as a filmmaker and as a person. It brings us through his upbringing and his beginnings with filmmaking and recording himself. As a kid, he went through some hardships, and he also grew up during the rise of technology and iPhones. And he also talks about things in general that he's had to deal with, or that Gen Z in general has had to deal with, which was being in college during the pandemic and everyone having to deal with lockdowns. And then I think I particularly felt connected to his story with his hardships finding jobs after graduating, especially in film. And I think a lot of people around his age, because of this time, have had similar struggles. And I think it's admirable how he's navigating and stayed confident in his worth and abilities.
The Corey Davis evolution story. I thought this was really, really interesting, especially just getting from his own perspective, kind of his self-reflection, looking back on kind of how he got started, the motivations for, kind of getting started in the videos, in the, content that he was creating. And then as he got older, how that changed and why that changed and what the kind of motivation behind all of it was. And I thought it was really interesting because typically when we see that kind of reflection and that kind of, self-assessment, it's when people are older because they don't start as young. So he still had like 10 years of, video making and creative, content to kind of review, but he is still, young when you look at it in terms of a lifespan and just kind of starting his career post-college graduation and starting to try and figure out how he fits into the world outside of schooling. And I think that it's such an interesting, like I said, kind of self-reflection to go through, especially because it is so early in that sense. Not early in the sense that like he does have years of experience, but early in the sense that it's, the first time outside of a school setting that, he's starting to begin that journey. And I thought that it was really, really fascinating to kind of see how he views it from where it started to where it is now as he continues to kind of grow and move forward.
The Corey Davis evolution story. First of all, I want to give kudos to Corey Davis for his perseverance with his passion and the evolution that he has made. I think it's important to evolve. And as he said, not stay stagnant. I can totally relate to a lot of the things he said about, going through living in a small town and feeling alone, like you can't find your people because it's such a small town and limited, social interactions because of the amount of people in the town. And so you feel alone and things like that, and going out and finding your people and expanding your life. I think he has a lot of really great wisdom, especially at the very end of the documentary. I like everything he was saying at the end, just about doing this for yourself, basically your intentions, and not worrying about doing this for affecting somebody, but not worrying about getting praise from everybody, because you're not going to please everybody all the time. Just a little bit of constructive criticism is I think it's a little long for a documentary like this. I think it could be at least 30 minutes to 40 minutes shorter. I like the music. I like the different elements you have within the documentary, such as the different footage that you've shown, different examples of people doing things as you're talking about what's happening, or things like old footage of your own, dancing in school, and the footage of your own productions. I think less of you being seen sitting on the couch talking and more of that stuff happening is what kept me intrigued. Not that I didn't want to see you talking, but I think there could be less of that, and it could move along at a quicker pace, just as an overall constructive criticism. But that being said, the point of it came across clearly, and the intention of, I think, inspiring people, and especially aspiring filmmakers and actors and directors, how the evolution of that too, how going from a small town and doing what you can within that, the limits there, the not having the resources to do everything you want to do, from just the theater groups not being really there, and people not really getting you because there's not enough people who are wanting to do the same thing, and also not having the camera and the capabilities, and then moving into a place, getting yourself into college and going out and expanding so that you can get around like-minded people. I think that goes for even after college, finding your people, finding groups to work with and support you, because it is lonely. I don't think the world has to be a dark, scary, lonely journey. I think we are all connected by energy, and we can hopefully find that more on Earth. I think that's part of, what the whole world might be going through, especially after the pandemic, being isolated and whatnot. But I really liked the story overall. I like where you're going, and I just wish you the best of luck with this documentary and your career, and finding ways to inspire people as you have your whole life. And I think the big thing is you've inspired yourself over and over, and you've done your creativity when you needed it most, and even when you didn't, you just kept at it. So great job. And everybody that participated, the music that you had in it, I liked. All the I think the editing could be a little tightened up, but overall I really liked the journey you went on. So great job.